Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the City of Farmers Branch regular City Council meeting. It is January 4th, 2022. The time is 6:01 p.m. Just want to wish everyone here a Happy New Year and everyone in our entire community a happy, healthy, and prosperous 22. Hopefully it is better than the last 2 years. With that, we will begin with our invocation and Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by Councilmember Lynn.
Please join me for invocation. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and for allowing us to come together as a community this evening. Give us strength as we work to serve all of our community and be responsible in our decision making. Be ever mindful of those who serve us on a daily basis, our police and firefighters, and keep them safe. May our efforts to serve you be an example to others that we are working not for ourselves, but for a greater good. In your name, we ask your blessing. Amen. Now for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Go ahead. There we go. We're on the technical side too sometimes. Next is our ceremonial items, and first I'd like to ask Shane Davis to come up. So we're recognizing Shane for 15 years of dedicated service to the City of Farmers Branch. After being blown east from Lubbock by a West Texas haboob, Shane began his employment with the City of Farmers Branch in December of 2006. His initial impression of Farmers Branch as he gazed out of his second-floor office window overlooking the City Hall parking lot while he pondered, why are all these TV camera vans in attendance at the council meeting? Where am I? Not in Kansas anymore. Or Lubbock. It's basically the same. He was hired to be a landfill administrator overseeing the contract and operations at Camelot Landfill. His first project was to review the proposals and contract negotiations for a landfill gas-to-energy project in the Camelot Landfill. This facility is still in operation today. His career in solid waste and recycling while at Farmers Branch has often been contentious but interesting. A few of the highlights are the landfill operations contract discussions with public services and waste management, early foray into the sale of carbon credits tied to landfill gas collection and flaring, the sudden gift of a promotion to solid waste administrator in which he managed the landfill and solid waste collection division while simultaneously assessing the feasibility of outsourcing the service. A failed attempt to franchise commercial solid waste due to the nefarious independent waste haulers at DFW, the NIMBY landfill expansion efforts and the associated state legislative efforts and lawsuits by two North Texas cities that required him to shop in disguise at the local Kroger in Carrollton and travel to a more poshy grocery establishments in Plano. The friendly town hall meetings in Linkley led up to the implementation of curbside recycling and the concern about the world-ending cart Armageddon. Yeah. Trip down memory lane here. Along with the solid waste projects, he steadily increased his area of responsibility with the promotion to environmental health and solid waste manager in 2011, which brought the environmental health division under his leadership. Finally, in July 2017, he was promoted to his current position as Director of Sustainability and Public Health, which added trail design, construction, animal services, and sustainability to his areas of responsibility. With his wide scope of responsibility, his days are rarely boring. When he's not at work, he spends his time with his wife, Amanda, and their kids. He enjoys his quiet Saturday mornings watching English Premier League matches and cheering on Swansea City FC in the Championship League. He occasionally takes a decent picture with his camera in his spare time, but rarely shares them. Unlike Allison Cook, we are still waiting for him to come out of his shell. Have we brought the young lady back to sing that rendition one more time? No. Shane has been an integral part of not only our staff, but our community. The leadership that he has displayed these last 15 years has been tremendous, not only in the way that we've changed the city and the way some of our services are handled and deployed throughout the city, but some of the innovation that we've seen. He does take care of items that are often overlooked, underappreciated, but things that matter the most to a lot of us, which is making sure that the trash is picked up and hauled off, which he does a great job of. And I know that you do get a lot of beef for stuff. It's hard to handle it all, being one person handling that, but I think you do a tremendous job. The leadership that you've displayed within sustainability and passed off as well has been tremendous. And so just want to thank you for your time, your energy, your efforts, and what you meant to the City of Farmers Branch, and looking forward to the next 15 years. And you did say you were going to sing the Swansea song before? No? Okay. You said it was in the family, so. All right. With that, I just want to say, let's all give Shane a round of applause for his 15 years of dedicated service to the City of Farmers Branch. Next is the recognition of Renee Esses for 5 years of dedicated service to the City of Farmers Branch. Renee? So today we recognize Renee Esses for 5 years of dedicated service to the City of Farmers Branch. Renee began her career with the City of Farmers Branch in 2016 as a special projects manager in the Public Works Department. Her planning, transportation, and environmental background brought a unique skill set to the department, where she focused on transportation funding, stormwater, and solid waste projects. In 2017, Renee joined the newly created Department of Sustainability and Public Health. Renee has been a valued team member for the city, working across departments and with other agencies to implement new ideas and secure funding for multimodal transportation projects. In her short tenure, Renee has several notable accomplishments that include secured over $8 million in federal and county funding for multimodal transportation projects on the west side of Farmers Branch and along Denton Drive and Valley View Lane. Worked with the Parks Department to implement pilot no-mow zones to address erosion and sedimentation issues along Raleigh Creek. Developed standard bus stop designs that incorporate not only transportation needs, but also environmental concerns along the blue, green, and gray bus stops. Key staff member during implementation and configuration of the FBTX Connect for sustainability and public works. Renee didn't start at the City of Farmers Branch. I mean, you're from Ohio, right? Yeah. But she did make her way down here. Her background and work with DART has definitely been an experience that she's been able to leverage into her position here. The connections that she has in the region has definitely gone a long way. The way that she's able to use those connections to help us in the ways that we just described has been instrumental to our city, and definitely been an advantage in different ways that we are trying to source funding, source projects, and get them done for the most amount of bang for our buck, and we wouldn't be able to do that without you, and I just want to thank you for that, your leadership. And before we congratulate you for your 5 years, I do know that Shane Davis has a few words he would like to say.
So the one part that's left out of my bio is the fact I was actually born in Ohio, so we're both born in the same state. I was born outside of Cleveland. So I hired Renee. She has a planning background, and me being very strictly a science background. It's been very helpful. As much as I want to do everything in a very linear, early fashion, she has helped me tremendously in terms of understanding some topics and getting me up to speed on funding, transportation, DART, things in that area. And knowing that our experience with stormwater has been very helpful. I appreciate her desire to work with as a team, with as many people as possible. But most of all, just she's picked up a lot of things when Katie left, and so that's a huge help to me, just kind of picking up a lot of little things that Katie used to do and keeping that while the ball was in the air during that transition. So I can't thank her enough for her efforts here in the city. I just want to say thank you as well for what you've done.
Want to say anything? All right. So with that, let's give Renee a round of applause for 5 years of dedicated service to the city. Next is our report on study session items, which will be led by Councilmember Merritt.
Thank you, Mayor. Council convened at 3:30 upstairs for our study session this afternoon. Our first item was to discuss the regular agenda items. There were a couple of topics that came up related to some public works items, as well as purchase of new police vehicles, and answers were provided. And additionally, we had a brief discussion on the redistricting commission and the participation of the alternates, and looking forward to the work that that group is about to undertake as we have that on our consent agenda. Moving on, we received an update from Centurion American on the boardwalk development. We had representatives provide us updated drawings and conceptual elements of the new product that they're putting there, which is manifesting itself with the Gas Monkey Grill, with the Richard Rollins naming and involvement. We're very excited about that particular project. Concerns about parking are being addressed on a number of levels. There was references to Mr. Rollins' involvement, which is, he's very excited about this particular project. He was ill today. He was supposed to be in attendance, but he was ill. We look to have those plans in the 45 to 60 days out from submittal, and then they expect a 6 to 8 month construction target window for that particular project. Some elements of that boardwalk development are already underway. It's a multi-building project, but this timeline that I just gave is referencing the Gas Monkey project. And then lastly, we discussed future items, future City Council items. Mayor, you brought up a couple of new, actually a trio of new groupings. One to discuss innovation, another to discuss the DART liaison relationship, as well as a red, white, and blue task force for our upcoming November Veterans Day celebration. So more to come on those particular trios. Councilman Driscoll brought up a request for information on the Burke Nature Preserve and the timelines and the expectations on that. And then I myself brought up the topic of the city's website, and looking at, now that we've had that in for a couple of, well, actually about half of the year, to look for some opportunities for improvement, some feedback loops, etc. So I look forward to a discussion on that. I'll remind the community that you can, please remember, you can go to the city's website under the government tab, and then to the agenda center to watch study session and regular council meeting videos. Mayor, that is my study session report for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Merritt. Next is the City Manager's report on items of community interest. Mr. Cox.
Thank you, Mayor. As required by the city charter, our city council districts will be modified this year to align with the latest census data. The redistricting commission will begin meeting this month and make its presentation to council this summer. All meetings will be open to the public. More information will be available when the meetings begin. Get ready to bump, block, and dig for your team at a new set of sand volleyball courts. They will be installed behind the Aquatic Center at Hartside Place and Amber Lane. Picnic tables were recently added. Construction on the volleyball courts will begin soon. During January, our finance department will finalize a new and improved bill pay system. It will enhance service and security, but automatic online bill pay will be unavailable during the transition. Specifically, any utility bill received on or after December 21st will have to be paid by phone, in person, by check, or making a one-time payment directly from your bank. Citizens can set up new accounts for automatic bill pay beginning February the 1st. More details are available at farmersbranchtx.gov/utilitybill. Now that winter weather has finally arrived, remember to prepare your home by disconnecting garden hoses, covering outside faucets, turning off sprinklers, insulating exposed pipes, and locating your water main cutoff valve. If you have a broken pipe, call our Public Works Department at their on-call number 972-919-2597. Dallas County public health officials raised the coronavirus risk level to red last week due to a high risk of transmission as new cases of the Omicron variant spiked across North Texas. New statewide daily cases have quadrupled since the beginning of December. City leaders continue to urge citizens young and old to get the vaccine and the booster immediately. And finally, you can sign up for e-news at farmersbranchtx.gov to have current city news and information delivered to you weekly. And with that, Mayor, that's the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Cox. Next is citizen comments. There's a 3-minute time limit for each citizen to speak. Anyone wishing to speak shall be courteous and cordial. No disparaging or inflammatory remarks directed at any member of the city council or staff will be allowed. First up is James Lockridge. Name and address, please.
James Lockridge, 2053 Willowwood Drive, Grapevine, Texas. I was here last city council meeting, Mr. Dye, and you told me that you would have somebody reach out to talk to me. Didn't happen. It doesn't matter how many times I call Charles Cox's office, and it doesn't matter how many times I call Leo's office. It's a lie. Plain and simple. You're nailing me, and it's harassment, okay? Here's another citation I got after the city council meeting, okay? Don't make promises to the citizens of Farmers Branch if you can't stand behind them, okay? Now, there's a guy that has stockpiled dirt behind one of my buildings for 3 years, almost 50,000 yards of dirt stored on his property, and he won't move it, okay? What's the difference between him storing that dirt on the property and me storing a hay bale? What's the difference in the city taking their Christmas decorations and storing them on my right-of-ways and in the corners of my fields for 30 to 60 days, and me storing a hay bale on the property? What's the difference between you placing your political signs up and down the roadways on my fields and leaving them until your term's up and you get your campaign stuff done? What's the difference? Why is the city of Farmers Branch coming after me so hard? Answer it. I've called Charles Cox's office so many times that I'm blue in the face. I've called Leo till I'm blue in the face. Do something. You're letting 2 people destroy this city. Is that the reputation that Farmers Branch wants? Leo, literally on Fox News, said that my crops were trash. But yet, Farmers Branch Police Department just last weekend caught a guy stealing hay out of the field. Took him to jail for warrants. So if they're stealing the hay, but your city's saying that it's trash, we got a problem here. Don't make me any more promises or I'll run for city mayor. And I won't think twice about it. And I'll take all of these guys up here that are puppets and I'll get rid of everybody and we'll start fresh. Okay? This is ridiculous. Don't pick on one person and don't act like idiots. Come to the table, sit down, and let's have a discussion. Don't be childish about it. Mr. Cox, you too. I'm tired of calling you. You are supposed to represent the city of Farmers Branch. You don't represent anybody except whatever you can gain from it. Stand up, do your job, and help the citizens of Farmers Branch out instead of hiding. Okay, it's that simple. If 2 people are destroying your city and causing this kind of a ruckus and making national news, don't you think that it would be awesome for the city council to meet with somebody and try to come to a resolution instead of constantly picking on that person? Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Diane Graffenberg. Diane Graffenberg. Okay. That is it for citizen comments. Next is the consent agenda. As a reminder, we are implementing and still using, or I guess, using the new voting system. So we will still take motions the old-fashioned way, which will be verbal. But then once we have a motion and a second, we will lock in our votes with the tablets. So do I have a motion for the consent agenda?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
I have a motion by Councilmember Driscoll.
A second.
I have a second by Councilmember Williams. Is there any more discussion? Seeing no speakers, I will ask council members to lock in their vote now. Motion carries. 5 yes, 0 no. Next is our public hearing. J1, conduct a public hearing and consider adopting ordinance number 3719 for a specific use permit and associated detailed site plan for open storage on an approximate 2.17 acre property located at 13213 Senlac Drive, and take appropriate action.
I would like to introduce everybody to Christopher Webb. He has joined our planning team, and he came from Waxahachie. And so I'd like you to give a warm welcome, and he's going to do the presentation tonight.
Mr. Webb, welcome.
How are y'all doing?
Doing well.
There we go. There it is. No, it wasn't. It got closed.
That's what we
2022.
do to the new guy.
Yeah, it's all good.
We hide his presentation. Well,
There we go.
initiation.
Right. All right, let's get this started so that way we can make this hopefully a very brief meeting. Item J1 is going to be for 13213 Senlac Drive. This is north of the intersection of Valley View Lane and Senlac Drive. With this is actually just right across the street from Enterprise, which saw a similar SUP request that was approved back in June, and also just south of one of the city's service centers located along Senlac. Surrounding uses to this site are largely office, warehouse in use and in scope. The overall site is 2.17 acres, and the zoning for this site is going to be PD 77. The request from the applicant is for an SUP to allow for the open storage of vehicles, primarily overnight, and the Einstein Moving Company will also be occupying the existing office building that is located on this site. A quick overlook or overview of the subject tract shows that full 2.17 acres. However, this specific use permit is actually only really going to be for the southern half of the property, which is approximately 1.09 acres. The area that's shaded in gray is going to be where that overnight storage is being proposed, and that would be the only area that it would be allowed. The applicant is currently proposing to have 9 moving trucks. They'll all be 26-foot box trucks on site, but there is enough space on this location to allow up to 15 moving trucks. The applicant's also going to remove the existing chain link and barbed wire fencing and gates that are located on each side of the building and replace those with a masonry screening as well as wooden gates. That will be an 8-foot tall masonry screening wall. Other improvements to the site, they will be adding 6 additional trees along Senlac Drive, and they'll also be removing and replacing any declining vegetation screening that's located in those shrubs that are run along Senlac Drive, really in front of the portion that's not going to be included with this SUP, but nonetheless provide screening for the site. The applicant will be, it will be possible for the applicant to expand into the area where the SUP will not be enforced, but that will require an SUP amendment to be approved. So for now, they are going to have a curb running along the north side of their proposed parking lot, and that will help prevent vehicles from moving and anything being stored into the area that's not covered by the SUP. Additional improvements as well for this area will include the concrete paving behind the building. It is currently it's unimproved. It's mostly gravel and dirt, so it is going to be concreted. And they'll make a few repairs to the asphalt, existing asphalt parking lot in front of the building. Some additional notes for this site. The applicant will have 4 to 5 employees housed permanently within the office. There will be an additional 35 employees or so who will arrive each morning and take the trucks out. That'll be around 7:30, 8 in the morning, and then they'll periodically come back whenever they finish with their jobs. And so, the overall parking and parking and outside storage for this is largely going to be an overnight deal. It's not going to be a deal where trucks are going to be housed there all day long. It's mainly going to be for the overnight period, and it will only really be for the trucks and not for any additional outside storage. As far as the site itself goes, this does fall under the West Side Land Use Plan and under the Employment District. Office and employment uses are recommended for this site, and the surrounding land uses do align with what's being proposed and are mostly industrial in scope. PD 77 allows for industrial and warehouse uses, and this proposed use is consistent with other surrounding land uses. We did send out all required notifications and also posted a notification in the Dallas Morning News as required by our own zoning ordinance and state law. And on December 13th, 2021, P&Z voted 6-1 to approve this specific use permit as presented within ordinance, within the ordinance.
All right. Well done, Chris.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Council members, if you have any questions, please use your iPad on the request to speak button. I will call you in order, whether that's questions for Chris or for the applicant. Does anyone have any comments or questions at this time? Not seeing any.
All right.
All right. Well, this is a public hearing. We do not have anyone signed up to speak to this item. So with that, I will look for someone to make a motion to close the public hearing and take action.
Mayor, I move to close the public hearing and make a motion in favor of ordinance number 3719.
I have a motion by Councilmember Rotana. Second by Councilmember Merritt. Is there any more discussion? Seeing no one requesting to speak, I will ask council members to lock in their vote now. Motion passes unanimously. Next is item K, take any action necessary as a result of the closed executive session. K1 is consider approving resolution number 2022-011, authorizing negotiation and execution of an agreement for the sale of property to the Farmers Branch Local Government Corporation for resale to Builders of Hope, CDC, for development of workforce housing, and take appropriate action. Councilmember Rotana, I think you have a motion.
Yes, I move to approve resolution number 2022-011, authorizing negotiation and execution of an agreement for the sale of property to the Farmers Branch Local Government Corporation to resell to Builders of Hope, CDC, for development of workforce housing, and take appropriate action.
I second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Rotana, a second by Councilmember Williams. We do not have anyone signed up to speak to this item. Does anyone from council have any more discussion? Seeing none, I will ask council members to lock in their vote now. Motion passes unanimously. Seeing that we have no other business to handle tonight, I will adjourn tonight's meeting at 6:30 p.m. Have a good night.